What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today we have one of my favorite videos to do, that being the now versus future graph, where I put all 32 teams on a graph where the x-axis is how good or bad they are right now, and the y-axis is how good or bad they are going to be in the future, like 6 to 7 years from now. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. Let's just freaking get right into it. And up first, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins. When looking at them, they still haven't quite fully chosen to blow it up. So I can't go like based on the hypotheticals of them potentially getting Gavin McKenna, Landon Dupont, Maddox, Schultz in the next 3 drafts. If they traded away Rustin, Raquel, or Carlson tomorrow, they'd definitely be higher in terms of the future. They have like a good prospect pool right now, but no real like blue chippers and nobody really proven at like the NHL level under the age of 25. So like right now, based on where they are, you kind of got to put them in bad future as well as pretty bad right now. They're probably going to be a bottom 6 or 7 team in the NHL. And I don't think Rucker McGrody right now is the savior. And hopefully they blow it up for their own sake. You don't want to be stuck in that bottom 5 to 9 range and then just never get a true superstar. But yeah, I think that's a fair placement for them. They're definitely in a better spot than they were this time last year. This time last year, they'd be all the way down in the corner here. The Winnipeg Jets, they're pretty good right now. They should be a safe playoff team as long as Connor Hellebuyck can stay healthy. The future is a little bit concerning, considering Hellebuyck's like 32 years old at this point. I know he's been aging fantastic, just had his best season, but at 37, 38 years old, I'm not sure he's going to be holding up as well. And Shifley's 31, Morrissey's like 29 or 30. Kyle Connor's like one of their younger guys, and as well as Velarde, and they're like 27, 28. So yeah, I don't know if Perfetti's quite ready to be the guy in 6 to 7 years. And I like their prospect pool, but there's no, again, true blue chip guys. I like Brad Lambert. I like Braden Yeager. Are they those next level guys? Not so sure. So I don't think the future is looking too hot right now for the Winnipeg Jets. The St. Louis Blues, they're kind of like right in the middle. It's interesting because next season they should compete for a playoff spot. They made the playoffs last year alongside a lot of teams in the Western Conference, but they have like a good prospect pool, probably like a top 11 to 17 prospect pool in the NHL, but no real like blue chip guys. I'm not sure you're winning a Stanley Cup or being a consistent contender with Robert Thomas as your best forward, and God knows who their best defenseman will be for the foreseeable future. So I think that's a solid place. They're not in some horrible spot, don't get me wrong, but I think they're just going to be like a wild card contender for the next 6 to 7 years. Next up, the Calgary Flames. They've definitely improved their situation compared to like a year or two ago when they were in a bad spot. They had a pretty shit prospect pool. Their prospect pool is starting to look good. I really like Zane Parekh. I really like Dustin Wolf. They still need a true difference maker forward in that prospect pool. And next season, although I've been wrong about them so much, I think that they are going to be like an 80-ish point team. So I think that's about fair for the Calgary Flames. The Utah Mammoth, they're going to be battling with the St. Louis Blues for a playoff spot. I'm going to move St. Louis maybe a little bit over here, but I think they have a better future, considering Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther look like those legit cornerstone pieces, as well as the fact that I think they have a top 5 to 8 prospect pool in the NHL, especially after getting Caleb Desnoyers. So they're definitely in a very good spot, positioned very well for the future, as well as next season, in my opinion, taking a jump to potentially make you the playoffs. Colorado, their future has gotten dinged up a decent amount in the last 12 months. They went for it this season with the Cal Ritchie and first-round pick for Brock Nelson, the Zellers in a second-round pick, as well as trading away Casey Middlestat. So as long as McKinnon and McCarr are still on the team, they should be good. Even McKinnon at like 35, 36 years old still should be a top 15 to 20 player in the NHL, and McCarr will be in his early 30s, but the rest of the team will probably regress by then. So I can't really have them too high. And they have like nothing in terms of a U25 core. The Florida Panthers, similar thought process here. I'm sure Bill Zito will somehow find a goddamn way for this team to be sick. But unless Sam Miskevich and Lindell are those next cornerstone pieces, their core will be between the ages of like 33 to 37 then. I'm sure I'll be proven wrong. I'll be put on an edit in 6 to 7 years from now when they win the Stanley Cup again. But good Lord. Minnesota, I think that they're just slightly better than Utah, maybe a slightly less high ceiling. I'll put them actually about the same. When looking at them, they have their franchise piece. Kirill Kaprizov is 28 years old at this point. As long as Boldy, Faber, Boyum continue to develop, those guys will still mostly be in their prime in the future. In this season, let me move Winnipeg over a little bit more with that consistent goaltending. But they should be a playoff team. this year, whether it's like first wild card or third spot in the division. Should be a playoff team. The Washington Capitals, I think that they're like a slightly better St. Louis Blues. I don't think anybody's expecting them to repeat last season with the 114 points that they end up with. And they have a solid like 24-year-old to 28-year-old core right now, as well as a good prospect pool. If Ryan Leonard absolutely crushes it and looks like he can eventually be an elite first liner, they're definitely going to go up a decent amount, as well as Cole Hudson is awesome. So yeah, I think I'm going to have them here. They look like that they're just going to be able to be a consistent playoff team for the next 7-8 years. Detroit, I'm still pretty high on their future with Raymond, with Sider. Those guys will still be in their prime, as well as I think I had them, third in my prospect pool rankings. If Augustine or Kosa really hit, I think their future could be pretty damn special. So I'm going to put them right now. This season, the defense core is still pretty dog shit, so I can't really have them like safely in the playoffs or something ridiculous like that. I think they'll be a high 80s point team right now. Babiak has them in like the high 70s when we did our hot takes. But yeah, I think that's a fair placement for Detroit. I'm still kind of bullish on their future a little bit. The Anaheim Ducks, with Quenneville, it's so interesting. Like they far outperformed last year, but they're getting such a big coaching upgrade this season. I'm going to move Detroit actually a little bit down in terms of their future because I'm going to slot Anaheim like right here. They have a slightly better future than Detroit, in my opinion. The Nashville Predators, they are not in a very good spot. If they selected Hagens or Martones fifth overall, they'd be in a better spot. I think they're going to bounce back next season in terms of actually being like pretty competitive. Their prospect pool has a lot of quantity over quality, in my opinion. So I think they're around Pittsburgh. But they don't really have anybody to replace the current guys, especially in terms of the defense core. Not too high on it. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews will still like somewhat be in his prime, but Nylander's 2 years older. John Tavares, Matthew Knies will be in his prime. Riley will be washed up, and they don't have a lot of picks. They don't have a lot of prospects outside of Easton Cowan. So I think you got to throw them like down here-ish. I think that's like about a fair spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs on this. This year, they should be a safe playoff team, especially with that goalie tandem. Chicago, their future is looking good. They still have some pieces to put together, and a lot of their prospects need to debut and prove it at the NHL level. So I can't quite have them bullish as Detroit, Anaheim, who have a lot more NHL proven under 25 guys. They have a very high ceiling, but yeah, it's just very unproven right now. And I think next season they're going to be probably like a high 60s point team. Vancouver, I'll put them like right here. It's tough because they're not old by any stretch, but like their entire core pieces right now are between the ages of Quinn Hughes at 25 and then like Thatcher Demko at like 28, 29 years old. So in 6 to 7 seasons, those guys won't be completely washed up out of the league, but they will be out of their prime. Unless like Lecker, Amaki, and Willander really hit the ground running and turn into top pair kind of guys, and Braden Coots as well, they'll probably just be okay for the next 6 to 7 years. The Los Angeles Kings, it really just depends on Quinton Byfield and Brant Clark. Like, I'm going to be honest, because Drew Doughty and Kopitar are going to regress or walk away. Kopitar apparently might retire at the end of this season. So, yeah, if those guys can fill those shoes, and not to like the exact same level, top 15 player in the NHL as Kopitar, top 5 defenseman as Drew Doughty. But yeah, they should be good next year. I think they're going to be battling, honestly, with like St. Louis for a wild card spot and Vancouver for that third Pacific spot. Third wild card spot. Second wild card spot. Jesus, sick right now. But yeah, I think that's a fair placement for LA. Definitely a lot less bullish on them compared to years past. The Edmonton Oilers, if McDavid and Draisaitl are on the team, they're such amazing talents that they'll still be good players. So I kind of got to put them, and they also have Evan Bouchard, who's still only 25 years old. So I got to put them in like a slightly better spot than Florida, just because, again, those guys are next level, but they still don't. Like, they should not be contending at a high level in 2031, 2032. Philadelphia Flyers, bright future. Their future's starting to turn it around. Porter Marteau and Michkov is a scary forward duo. Next season, I don't expect them to be that good. Probably like mid-70s point pace, high 70s. Buffalo, I just don't know what to think of Buffalo. Like, the pieces are there to potentially make it work, but why would I? I think they're actually going to be decent this year, but the future is very cloudy at this point. I feel bad for the new general manager once Kevin Adams is probably fired after this year. Ottawa is like right also like basically where Washington is, in my opinion. Not the best prospect pool, but basically all of their core pieces are between the ages of 22 to 27 for the most part. So they're not going anywhere. I'll put them as a little bit of a higher ceiling, maybe slightly worse right now. There's a little bit of a cluster. Let me kind of separate these guys. Yeah, that's about Ottawa's like a slightly worse Utah, I'd say, if that makes sense. I feel like I gotta spread these. Dallas. They went pretty aggressive this season in terms of trading Stan Coven and a bunch of futures for 28-year-old Mikko Rantanen, but come the future in this scenario, he will no longer be Mikko Rantanen that we know now. So they'll still be good because Wyatt Johnston's pretty young. Heiskanen and Robertson are still only 25 and 26 years old, but maybe not high-end contender. Actually, even this year, I'm going to put them. I don't think that they're as good as they were last year, obviously. Columbus is an interesting one. This season, I've said it multiple times. I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back, but the future is pretty bright for Columbus. So let me just reorganize these guys a little bit. They could potentially make the wild card this year. I wouldn't bet on it, but the future, it's very bright. Seattle, I think they're going to stink this year in their future. Right, Beniers. I like Cadden and O'Brien. They don't have anything in terms of defenseman prospects for the most part, so I think I'm going to slot them down here. I just don't trust Ron Francis and Botterill, and they got promoted this year, so I don't think they're going anywhere. So Botterill will probably, to use an English soccer term, football term, probably bottle it. Boston, similarly to Pittsburgh, right now, they have no plans of retooling further, or they haven't done more retooling. If they commit more to like another year of stinking, then I could be moved in terms of their future. But right now, it looks like that, especially after getting like Arvidsson and Janelle, they're going to try to win now. I'm not sure how much that's going to work. So I'll put them pretty bad future, but I think they're going to be bad. They're going to be in the mix for a playoff spot. They were just demoralized the last half of last season, especially after trading Marchand. They were in the mix the first like half of the season. My Islanders, I feel like people are going to expect me to biasly put them pretty high. I'll put them right around here. The prospect pool is probably top 10 at this at this point. They don't have a ton of U24 players on the roster. They don't really have like any. So it's all prospects at this point. You cannot say just because you have a great prospect pool, you have a great future. We got to see those guys actually hit. But compared to last year where they were probably like here, I'd rather have this. I'd rather have the future be much better when we're not close to winning a fucking Stanley Cup anytime soon. Tampa right now has the worst future, the worst 6 to 7 year outlook. Like, I don't think that's controversial. They've traded like everybody and their mother. They have like Sam O'Reilly as their top prospect, who like caps out as a third line center most likely. Brandon Hagel's like their one young piece, and he's a 2016 draftee, so he's 27 years old at this point. So yeah, they're gonna be good this year. I believed in them last year, fell for it, and Florida fucking made quick work of them. But yeah, they're going to be good this year, but most of their core pieces are in their early 30s at this point, or mid 30s. Their top two defensemen are in their mid 30s. New Jersey, I'm less bullish on, but still objectively, Jack Hughes, maybe they'll have Quinn Hughes over these next 6 to 7 years. Jack Hughes he's only 24 years old. Heischer's only 26. Brad's 27. Luke Hughes, I'm still very high on in terms of turning into at least, maybe not a true number one, but a number one offensive defenseman, top pair offensive defenseman. So, yeah, they still have some young pieces. Hopefully, Simone Nemec can turn it around, where I think that they're going to be in the mix for the next 6 to 7 years. This time last year, or this time 2 years ago, I probably had them all the way up here, but I'm a little bit less. But still, they have a very good cap sheet for the foreseeable future. The New York Rangers, I think they're going to be battling for a playoff spot. I'd probably pick them to make the playoffs right now. Don't hold me to that, though. The future is not looking good, though. Their young core pieces are Adam Fox, who's 27 years old, and Shesterkin, who's like 29, 30. Like Miller, Zibanejad. Kreider's no longer the team. Trocheck, unless Lafreniere pops the hell off, and as my boy Johnny Laz says, gets to 100 points, it ain't looking good. Obviously, it's New York, so they'll be able to attract players. Speaking of teams that can attract players, the Vegas Golden Knights. But if Father Time does its work, it won't be pretty in a little bit for New York. Vegas... Again, they'll find a way to probably be fucking sick forever. But right now, Marner and Eichel are like they're two young guys at 28 years old. Stone's getting up there. Carlson's not young. Hurdle's not young. Shea Theodore is like 28, 29 years old. So real, like theoretically, they do have Dorofeyev and Trevor Conley, who I rate higher than anybody that Tampa has in terms of under 25 guys. So they have some young talent, but they should eventually fall off. The San Jose Sharks, great future. I got to move some of these. I feel like I've bunched these teams too much. I got to still see Sam Dickinson become like a legit number one defenseman. Let me move up some of these teams future-wise. Bear with me. Just click ahead a little bit. No, those teams could stay there. But yeah, San Jose, I still got to see some of the pieces. Askarov, prove it at the NHL level. Dickinson, Misa, obviously. But like, they have the highest ceiling probably right now in the NHL in terms of what they could be in about 6 to 7 years. Carolina, they might be in the best spot both now and in the future. Yes, their two best players, Aho and Slavin, are kind of up there in age at 30 and 28 years old, but Jarvis is so young and locked up long term. They just locked up Stankoven and Blake. Those deals will still be running and probably be some of the best in the NHL. Nikishin, like they draft and develop so well where I think that they will. And they are about, I'd say, a little bit behind Edmonton in terms of contending. I think that's about fair. They're on the same level as about Dallas. I'd go with. Let me actually move Dallas a little bit over. We tinker with this. This is not exact science. And then Montreal, very good future. I'll put them on par with Carolina. I know I've been called the Montreal Canadiens hater of recent, but they still have an awesome future when looking at the fact Demidov, Hudson, Slavkovsky, Suzuki's like the older statesman in that forward core, and he's 26 years old. I think he's still 25. I don't even think he turns, maybe he's turned. He is an August birthday. Caulfield's 24 years old. Like in 6 seasons, they are going to be at their peak, most likely, of this rebuild and probably contending for Stanley Cups. But yeah, that's it. I think I did a pretty good job. I think I'm, how many teams do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm a little bit more optimistic in terms of teams being good in the future. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm miscounting 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so about equal on that side. I think we did a pretty damn good job. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about these placements? Who would you move left? Who would you move down, right, up, all that good stuff. I'll be dropping this on Instagram next week around, probably do a 4-part series on it. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.